Welcome to With Intention. John Giganti here. We're about to go in and sit down with Michelle Raue. She leads claims, Vice President of Claims at Lyft, the rideshare company. She's one of the most dynamic leaders that have been around. She's got a positive vibe, positive energy to her. I'm excited to talk to her. Let's go jump in.
I've never been afraid to try anything. Everything you do in life, push yourself outside your comfort zone. Think as boldly as you can and work backwards.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
Not from Nashville, but live there now and flew in. We appreciate it. I know I've talked about having you come on, so it's exciting for me. I have great respect for you from a professional point of view, but also personally. I think you're an amazing person. I admire your story and what you're doing in the business world.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. So you work for Lyft now.
I do.
A senior leader there. Tell us about Lyft. What's that about?
Well, Lyft is about one thing: improving people's lives with the world's best transportation. And basically the goal is to have less car ownership so that we can turn, how many garages are there in this city, downtown Columbus? A lot.
Yeah, sure.
And what kind of space could we have in a city if we didn't have all the cars? People are starting to see that, your car sits 95% of the time.
Sure.
It's the second biggest expense that we pay, second to our housing, and it's super inefficient, right? So if you could free up that 95% of an asset and use something else, I think people are starting to learn that.
Okay, so your specific role, I know you were brought on last year to basically start a claims division for Lyft, right? So you're coming in as a female executive, starting from scratch in a startup environment, which has got to be super exciting and super challenging too at the same time. So tell us a little bit, can you go a little deeper on what your team does and how it's going?
When Logan and John decided to start this rideshare company, I don't think either one of them ever thought they'd end up being like the 6th largest commercial auto insurer in the country. I was fortunate enough they came looking for claims people. I had no idea that Lyft was looking for a claim VP, but they got in touch with me and I started talking to them, and it was just really apparent that they needed, just some foundational, and it was a place you could really make an impact. And so it was super challenging, and that's what I gravitate towards.
I know the pace is fast there,
Yeah.
so that's exciting. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just your journey. And I know being a female executive in probably a male-dominated world, Lyft's probably a little different from a diversification standpoint, I know, but what's that been like, leading in that type of world?
Well, I came up in auto insurance pretty much, and back when I started, 100 years ago, there were only about 10% women in leadership. Wow. And in senior leadership. I'd go to CCC conferences and be like, all these guys and a couple of women, and it was, you kind of had to learn how to put up with the crass jokes and, just grow some pretty thick skin just to get through that. It's gotten a lot better. I think women are starting to get more into auto insurance and leadership, and you're starting to see more in some prominent positions. But early on, it was a man's world.
Yeah. How'd you navigate it? How did you get to where you are today?
I'm the kind of person that just puts my head down and works, and I don't focus on negatives. Growing up, I didn't have the best background. I hate to say that because there's been people, there are people who have much more tragic
Sure.
lives than I had, but my dad was a bipolar, raging alcoholic, and things happened, but I always have been the kind of person and was the kind of kid that only remembered the positive things. I have a twin brother who is almost the complete opposite in every aspect of life. But if you asked him about our childhood and me about our childhood, he would tell you every negative thing and I would tell you every positive thing. And I don't know if it's because I was around maybe him and some of my other family members who dwelled on the negative, and I thought, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to like wallow in that when you can take the positive and choose to be happy? I mean, everything that comes at you, you're right. You have two choices. How do I take this? And your reaction and your attitude is what sets the stage. I mean, stuff comes at you. So just if you can choose your reaction and choose it to be positive, you're just going to be a much happier person.
Yeah. How is it? I know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of females that maybe are at home more, for example. You're on the road a lot, and you have to be. It's part of the job. How do you manage that parenthood with kind of travel and business?
It's really hard. When my girls were little, I traveled a lot then, and you know, they went to a private school in Alabama, and most of the mothers in their classes stayed at home, and I was like this odd one out that worked and was gone a lot, and I missed a lot of things. I missed like school plays, I missed dance recitals, I missed a lot of things. And if you're there when you're there, does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're present in the moment that you're there,
Totally.
that's what really counts, right?
Sure.
So I've raised a couple of really strong, smart girls who appreciate the fact that women can be out there and in the world, and I think they would tell you that it was okay that I missed those things because they learned a lot from watching me.
So what advice would you give to an aspiring, 25-year-old female in the business world?
Wow. This is probably not just for females, but it's, if you are given a job to do, make that be what you focus on. I think too many people spend so much time worrying about what's going on around them, and who, this person got a promotion and this person didn't get in trouble for that, and they get into that world of what about me and I deserve that too. Just focus on what the task you've been given, do it the best you can, and great things will happen. I never looked for the next step or the next level. I just did the one I had really, really well, and I always ended up, kind of being pushed up that ladder because I wasn't out there focusing on that next tier or that next thing. I was focusing on what I was supposed to be doing at the moment. And remember, if I could tell my 25-year-old self, remember that there is life out there too. It's not all about work. And I think sometimes when you're starting out and you want to prove yourself, you kind of forget that you got to live a little too.
Sure. It reminds me of a great book. Cal Newport's a writer. I think he's a Georgetown University professor too. He wrote a book called So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's all about that. Own wherever you're at. Kick butt in whatever job you're at. Don't worry about everything else. And the rest is going to take care of itself.
It will.
Do a great job.
It will.
I feel like you're visionary, really, too. So I've seen you in meetings, and just you think macro and where everything's headed, probably more than a lot of people. Where's that come from?
I've never been afraid to try anything. It's just kind of who I am and in my nature, that why not? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Sure.
My dad used to always say, the only thing they can tell you is no, right? And that's not going to kill you. Think bold. I mean, if you throw the spaghetti against the wall, only some of it's going to stick, and then some of that's not going to work. But start way out here. Think as boldly as you can and work backwards. I think too many people try to start here and work out, and you miss things. I mean, just imagine whatever. Sure. Imagine anything.
Yeah.
And then let somebody tell you can't do it.
And then what do you do when they tell you can't do it?
A lot of times I say, well, why not? I mean, I'll start picking apart why can't they do it? And it's mostly because they're tied to things that they think they have to have.
Yeah.
So,
don't you have a sticker on your laptop that says something about that?
I have a sticker on my laptop that says, you must do the things you think you cannot do, which is Eleanor Roosevelt. That's my favorite saying. because you got to put, it's all about everything you do in life, push yourself outside your comfort
Sure.
zone. And I think we get too hung up on, we got to use this system. Well, why? Why do we have to use that system? There's another way to do it in there, and you start picking those things apart, you can usually find something pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm going to try something new. Never done this in any of the interviews we've done, but
All right.
it's going to be like a rapid fire kind of question and answer thing. So it doesn't have to be, I'm just going to say a word and you just say, a couple thoughts or what comes to mind, and we'll go on to the next topic.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. So first word is War Eagle.
War Eagle. You have to say it back,
Oh,
right?
is that what it
That's
is?
A war
Okay.
cry, right. That's my team.
Who is it? Who's the team?
Auburn. The Auburn Tigers. Now they're the Auburn Tigers, and War Eagle is their war cry. So I've had to explain that to a lot of people. But
Cubs.
oh, my heart! I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I have been a Cubs fan since I could walk. My mother's family was from 2 hours south of Chicago, and my grandpa Eddie used to come down, and we'd watch Cubs on WGN for 6 weeks straight, and love the Cubs.
That's awesome.
Love them when they're terrible, love them when they win, love them all the time.
Faith.
That it's everything. I mean, that's who I am and what I do. I have a really strong faith. I pray every day. And it's something I kind of evolved into because, I was raised in the church. My mom made sure we got confirmed and all that stuff, but I never really had a personal relationship until my mother died. And I think that she had a hand in I struggled quite a bit because, your mother's the person that, or in my case, the person that you always go talk to when you have problems, and I didn't have that anymore. And one day, just randomly sitting there, found this Bible study and just really got into it. And that year I read the Bible twice, cover to cover, and got kind of mad because I was like, when I went to Catholic school, I was like, okay, you hear this, but you didn't know where in the Bible it was, and you didn't know the context around it. And so, learning all of that and learning about, who Jesus was and what he brought to this world. So faith is everything. It goes with me every day, everywhere I go.
Wow. Okay, cool. Okay, back to rapid fire. Mm-hmm. Leadership.
It's fun. I don't know what to say about leadership other than it's just a joy and a privilege to be able to, watch people grow. I think that's what leadership's all about. It's not about, making people do things or having people follow you. It's basically about helping people get where they need to get and what they want to do. And I've just been really privileged to be able to do that and be able to help people. And the folks out there doing the jobs are the people who are the most important. The leaders, all we need to do is get the stuff out of their way so that they can get their job done. And I used to tell people all the time my card didn't need to say whatever my title was. It needed to say bulldozer driver, because that really was my job. Just bulldoze everything out of these people's way so they can get the job done.
With intention.
Everything you do every day should have some purpose, right? I mean, we're here to leave this place a better world. We're not here for very long, but whatever we can do as we go along in our journey, and the people we can touch, and if somebody meets you and you leave and they think that was a really pleasant experience, I can't think of anything more wonderful. And I think that's kind of the way, when I wake up in the morning, I think let's go through this day and with intention to make, an impression on somebody. I don't want people to meet me and forget me, but not so that they remember me, who I am, but that they thought, that was a pleasant experience.
Right. I think that's a amazing point to end on, and I'll just say this. Like I said at the beginning, I admire your style greatly. I admire you as a person. I think you live that. You're authentic. You really, when you're around you, you feel you contribute to everybody in the room. So whether it's in a meeting or in a out to dinner with a group, it's just always that positive energy. So wherever that comes from, and I know it comes from a deep place. I just wanted to lift you up on that. It's really cool to see, and it's great to see you in such a impactful role now with Lyft too. So keep doing what you're doing, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Don. It's too kind, but it's great being here.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I think one of the key points there is control where you're at. Whatever position you're in, do the best job you can do. Control that situation, whatever adversity comes your way. You see that's kind of a running theme in a lot of these interviews we do. So Michelle did a great job there. She's doing some amazing things. She's a fantastic leader. I hope you got a lot out of that. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.